Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mass Appeal with Kansas City T-Bones manager John Massarelli. Mass Appeal is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the Kansas City manager questions about the T-Bones, baseball or sports in general, or just seek John's wisdom about life events that are going on. For this week, John talks to us about what it's like to manage in Kansas City. He shares with us his team updates for us, and John tells us about a hidden talent that he's got that many people may not know about. Let's get right to Mass Appeal. So, fans, we want to welcome you to our opening edition here with John Massarelli. So, John, we first of all just want to give you the opportunity to provide us with some team updates.
Well, we just got off a long bus ride from Gary to Sioux City, where the first time, I think, in my professional career of 30 years that we got no hit on a walk-off. That doesn't happen very often. They scored a run in the bottom of the ninth. Obviously, our pitching was phenomenal, and theirs was just one hit better.
Well, that's never any fun. It should have been the other way around.
No. So we lost 1-0 last night on a walk-off.
You had Starlin Rodriguez return from the disabled list for you. So how is that affecting your lineup, do you think?
Well, I mean, he's someone we've really been counting on. He was going through... He wasn't really hurt. He was on having trouble getting his visa processed, so he was late arriving. So we had no spring training. So once we activated him, we're putting him in the lineup and trying to, we DH'd him, we played him, and then gave him a day off. We're trying to slowly give him a spring training. So he's struggling a little bit, which is normal. Coming through, hasn't had any at bats, and he's trying to get up to game speed. So hopefully here in the next couple of days he's going to get his legs under him a little bit and be the guy that we're counting on.
Well, for our opening program, we just wanted to kind of give an opportunity for fans to get to know you a little bit better, and so I have some questions that I just wanted to go through and let you kind of just share your insights. So where we first of all just wanted to begin with, I understand it's pretty early in the season, you're just a couple of weeks in, but how are you assessing your team to this particular point?
Well, I'm really excited about the pitching. It's tough in independent ball to nab the quality starters and get the pitching out of the affiliates. It's very competitive to get these guys that really know what they're doing on the mound, and I'm very excited about our starting rotation with Barnes from last year, but the addition of Sean Fernie and Johnny Shuttlesworth and Jordan Cooper, who pitched a phenomenal game last night, 6 shutout innings. So I'm excited about that. I think our lineup's going to be, hitting's always going to fluctuate, and right now we're struggling a little bit with the bat, but we're also not very healthy. Our catcher tweaked the knee this weekend, has been out, and Robbie Coosdale, one of our key guys, has been hobbled with some leg injury. So, and Starlin's his spring training is right now. So I think offensively we're going to be very good and very exciting. We're just in one of those low ruts, so I'm excited. We're playing at 500. While we're not really hitting the ball, so that's always exciting because we get the offense going and we keep the pitching. It's a formula for running off about 8 in a row, 10 in a row, or 18 or 20. So I'm hoping that comes here shortly.
In that vein, last season you got kind of off to a rough start, 1-10, I believe it was. And this year your team has looked really sharp early on. So what do you think have been some differences that you've seen between the two clubs?
Well, I mean, last year was one of those baseball slumps. It wasn't anything we were doing. It was just one of those, one night we're getting good pitching and no hitting. One night we're hitting the ball and not getting any pitching and losing, and just went in one of those baseball slumps. And to that credit, last year's club really battled back out of it. And for June and July, we were probably the hottest team in the American Association. Faded at the end with a bunch of rainouts. We had to play 33 games in 30 days and kind of faded. Ran out of pitching, so to speak. But this club, a little different makeup and formula, but I like where we're at.
Yeah, I'm curious about that particular portion of it is that every team goes through a slump at some point during the season. Do you think it gets really magnified when that's at the start of the season?
Oh, definitely. That's when, you don't think about it. You get off to good starts and you're, 10, 15 games over, and all of a sudden you lose 5 or 6 in a row. You're concerned about it, but the team's already proven to itself that it can win and it knows it's going through. But when it's at the beginning of the season like that, There's always doubts. Do you have the right people out there? There's doubts on the team. Do we know how to win together? And so it was definitely a new experience. I'd never gotten off to a start like that last year. And, to the guys' credit, they overcame it and turned into a successful run there for a couple months.
You mentioned about the fact of your team having some really quality batters within the lineup. Starlin Rodriguez returns for you. Is having a good hitting team more representative of the kind of team you like to manage?
Well, it's, I like grinders. You want gamers. They always say the team reflects the manager's style of play. And, what I like about our club offensively is they battle at the plate. They make it tough. We went into St. Paul. St. Paul's got a very good club. And we went in there and split the series with them. But we were getting their starters close to 100 pitches every night after 5 or 6 innings. And that's a formula for success. Anytime you're making the starter work that hard just to get to the 5th and 6th inning and get into the bullpen, you got the kind of lineup you want that you put on paper in the off season. So that's the kind of guys I see us having offensively, and I'm very excited and looking forward to the next 2 months.
You talked a little bit about the fact of how well your starting pitching has looked. Your bullpen has been absolutely phenomenal for you. I would look at this and think not only are you excited about the talent level that you have, but you really got to like the depth you have as well.
Well, we do. We get a lot of returnees in that bullpen, which makes it easier. Where in a lot of years you don't know the roles you're putting guys in because you don't know them. We got a lot of returnees with the rookies DeLuca and Tolles who've been outstanding down there. Messer, who's been with me 2 years. Baker last year. Really, the only new guy is Haynes down there. Which we've seen in the league for 2 years. So that has probably helped more than anything is I knew instantly the roles I was going to put guys in.
What are some areas so far in the season that you'd like to see some improvement in?
Well, I always tell the first third of the season, first 30 games, it's not improvement. It's just getting into routines and consistency. You're trying to develop chemistry with your club. You're trying to figure out a lot of roles offensively or defensively, and so you want to see consistency, and we're still in the early stages of that. It doesn't get till we get to that middle third of the season where you start grinding things out that you look for areas of improvement. Right now, we're just trying to get into a routine.
When you're approaching into starting out a season, are there goals that you set for the team for itself in some capacity?
Well. Yeah, like I said, I break the season down into thirds for the guys. I talk about the first third of the season being where we get into our routines, that middle third where we grind out, our work ethic on a daily basis. That's where it starts to get hard with the travel and the day-to-day. And that puts you into the final third of the season. And what your goal is in that final third of the season, that final 30 games, is that you're in a playoff hunt. And if you do the work in the first 2/3, that last third's the fun part of the year. And that's really what I set as a goal for the team, is to be in that position come August that, we're not looking to next year. We're looking for a playoff chase.
Kind of in the situation where you're in, being in Kansas City, being with the world champion right there, what are some things that are challenges for you about playing in a city like that? Or do you find that that's kind of an advantage for you?
I think it's exciting because the community is excited about baseball. I think it only helps the T-Bones. The Royals are doing so well, and people talk about the Royals and they announce their scores at the games and people cheer. But I think people that are excited about baseball when the Royals are winning, and they come over to our park to watch some baseball at a little discounted price than driving over to the K. So I think it only helps when being in a major league city and that team is, world champions. It should help your business as well.
What are some of the things you really like about managing in Kansas City?
Association's a great league with some great towns and cities, but with all due respect to the Laredos and the Wichitas and the Joplins, Kansas City's a big league city, and it's fun to manage there. It's fun to be there. The fans are outstanding, and it's just so many things at my stage in my career that it's just a great place to live.
Now, I know that because of all the teaching aspect that you do as well here, that during the season we'll get a lot of questions, I'm sure, from fans about how to improve their baseball game in particular. So are there some tips that you'd like to provide for us to get kind of started on how young players can improve their baseball skills?
Right. Hi, Rob. Good plug-in. Go to Massarellibaseball.com and check out our ABC hitting philosophy, and they can learn all they want about hitting.
And what are some things that you'd like them to learn about hitting? Just tell us a couple that you think are essential for them to know.
Oh, we talk about the ABCs at our school, being balanced through the swing, how to load properly, how to stay back on breaking balls. Everyone thinks probably the biggest, worst thing out there in teaching is people think you keep your weight back when you're trying to hit a breaking ball off-speed pitch, when actually you attack the pitch and you go back with your hands. You stay back with your hands, not your body weight. That's probably one of the biggest misconceptions in young hitters is how to stay back on a breaking ball. So that's one of the key things.
So about your baseball school, when is it open? What kind of things can people learn, and how long can they be there? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's open all year round. Me and my hitting coach, Dave Schaub, are there working at it all winter. But we have instructors and travel team coordinators that run it in the summer while we're gone. So it's a full year-round thing.
Well, that's excellent. So, and the website once again is
Massarellibaseball.com.
Okay, awesome. It will help people jump out.
Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
That's great. Tell us something a little bit about John Massarelli that people may not know, that the hidden talent that you have that might surprise people.
Hidden talent. Well, I am an excellent gardener.
Okay.
I've got a green thumb, but I have my dad tend to it over the summer now that I'm away from Kansas City. The last couple of years I started gardening when I was managing Lake Erie Crushers and living at home. I started to get into gardening, and now I'm really into it so much that I leave with my garden planted, and my mother and father come house sit for my wife and I, and he tends to it, so I get home in September for the harvest.
Is there a particular thing that you're really, really good at growing?
Lettuces and herbs in the spring. We do tomatoes and peppers in the summer, which I'm not there to help attend, but I like, now that I'm away, I do the spring harvest in April. But I'm also an avid pond maker. My house is full of ponds. I have 4 different ponds on my property. It's kind of my soothing landscaping relief. My neighbors think I'm a big landscape freak because I'm always outside either digging a pond or fixing my pond or landscaping in some sort, just doing stuff outside. So that's kind of my off-the-field habits.
That's awesome. So one of the things you talked to me about was that you've gained a lot of wisdom over the years, and since you've been such a success as a manager, I just thought I'd give you the opportunity to share a piece of wisdom that you think everyone should know.
What should everybody know? That everyone should know that actually managing a professional baseball team, the easiest part of the job is 7 to 10 at night during the game. Anybody knows when you need to bring the lefty in or when you're supposed to bunt. I mean, it's baseball. That's not real rocket science. The hard part of managing is the other 22 hours of the day that you're dealing with just life issues with your guys. You're trying, they have life issues that are going through, whether it's, family sicknesses at home or, how they're playing or just, the multitude of issues we deal with in life, their faith. I mean, there's just, that's managing a baseball team, is the clubhouse and all the other hours you're spending with these guys, eating, traveling on the bus, that you're dealing with their everyday issues. When should he start his college classes? Or, that's what people forget. These are real people. They're not just the guys out there at 7 and 9 that you're rooting for or you're mad at if they struck out with the bases loaded. It's getting them to perform 7 to 9, but dealing with them the other 22 hours to try to get them to perform from 7 to 9.
Well, that's awesome wisdom.
That makes sense?
Absolutely. That's awesome wisdom. John, thank you for joining us this week, and we look forward to each week with you.
All righty. I'm looking forward to it too, Rob. Thank you.
We want to thank Manager John Massarelli for joining us on Mass Appeal this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Kansas City T-Bones manager, please send them to us at askjohn@minorleaguesportsupport.com. That's askjohn@minorleaguesportsupport.com. Please have your questions to us by Thursday evening so we can give the skipper a little time to review the questions before we record the show. I want to thank you for joining us this week. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll see you next time on Mass Appeal.